Does everyone hear the name? What? Okay, without further ado, at this time, I'd like to introduce our moderators. If you'll just turn so that people can see who you are. These are my Block Club captains. This is Carolyn. This is Greg. This is Bernadine. This is our Neighborhood Watch Secretary. This is Rachel. So what they're going to be doing, they're going to be asking questions, just general questions that we received, and they're going to ask one question for everyone to answer, maybe 3 questions. After that, we're going to have Q&A from the audience, where the audience will be able to come and ask a few questions, and then we're going to end with the candidates giving their closing remarks. Without further ado, let's begin the forum.
Ms. Jones. Yes, ma'am. Accessibility. How important do you think it is for the staff members to know you? Will you make yourself accessible to all parents, staff, and administration?
They can't hear, because it's right in the mic.
Okay.
And the question is for everybody, so all the candidates here, there's one question. The question that she's asking, everybody will answer it.
Thank you so much. Accessibility. My commitment to my staff is 100%. And I think that shows in the fact that book fair, I'm there for book fair, Wagner and Rickover. If you don't know where I live behind Rickover. Wagner is by 394. My commitment to my staff and my students, I'll walk on Rickover to Wagner to participate so that they know who I am. When they knock my door, they know it's the book fair lady. So my commitment to them is 100%.
Wait, Greg, they're all going to answer that one question, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Accessibility. My commitment is I'm everywhere. That's 100% also. I went through all the schools, so I know what I went through, and I know what I want for the children. And I want what's best for the children, so I'm going to be there anytime I'm needed. As far as the staff knows me. I'm always in the school. Staff has a cell phone number, has any number they can be in contact with. I'm always there. So I'm 100%.
Thank you for the opportunity to respond to that question on accessibility, because I think that it is very important that school board members are accessible, not just to the school staff, but to the parents as well as the students. I think that I'm a very approachable individual, one that would carry forth the responsibilities of being available and accessible to the greatest extent necessary. However, in doing so, I would also know that it's very important as a school board member to follow a chain of command as well. Being accessible does not mean that we carry any and everything back. We have to go through the normal process, and I would be more than willing to do that.
Testing.
Say your name, okay.
Just in case you're kind of far away from someone to read the sign or whatever they have in me.
Okay. Okay. Can you state the question one more time for clarity?
Okay. Accessibility. How important do you think it is for the staff members to know you? Will you make yourself accessible to all parents, staff, and administration?
My name is Sharon Archie Davenport, And for me, before I answer the question, can I give a disclaimer so that my son is very sick, and we've been in the emergency room all night, and I won't be able to stay the whole time, so I don't want anybody to think that I'm just skipping out. Before I came, he's still wheezing pretty bad. I just gave him a breathing treatment and some steroids and some medicine to keep him going. When he wears off, he gets back. So I need to get home before anything else happens with him, so I don't want anyone to know, but I did. So I was not going to come today, but because my heart is with the community, my heart is with the staff, but yet first and foremost, my heart is with my children. I wanted to come and show my face and acknowledge you all to let you know that I am here, but I do have to take care of my son. That goes along with the question that you just asked about my accessibility. My children come first for me, but I love all children. One thing about me, I have always been very vocal about being one that supports students, staff, and stakeholders. That is my motto. That is what I do. I have proven that. That's what I work on a daily basis. I prepare myself and have had my mindset to continue that work if I'm re-elected in, to continue to be accessible, to be touchable, for the staff to be able to feel comfortable enough to come to me. If someone comes to me, the challenge of that accessibility, which I am fully accessible, I actually have dedicated my life and time for this community, for this area. So though I have side jobs that I do, I am a full-time mom, full-time board member, to have the availability to be at the events, to shake hands, to be a support to the staff, to the students, to be a support and listening ear for the community. But when I am being a listening ear, again, it is important that we do have a chain of command. For instance, if we're out somewhere and you share information with me, or you get a phone call and say, you know what, this parent is having a problem, the first thing I have to do, I'll hear it out, yes. And I may just well go back and tell some of the board members or even tell the superintendent what happened, but I'm going to tell you, have you checked with your teacher? Have you spoken with the principal? I will make sure that you understand our chain of command so that not only do I show you that I care and I'm listening, but I also want to make sure I do my job in redirecting you to the chain of command that is necessary, and hope that you will be comfortable, and that will help a person to be comfortable to do what they have to do. So that's pretty much my accessibility.
My name is Sandra Isom, and when I am elected, I will definitely be accessible. I used to work for District 152 in Harvey. I was always accessible. I went to the school. I took my children to school. I picked my children up. I met the principal. I worked with the principal. I knew all the teachers. I went to every function in the school district, and I will make myself accessible here also because I love the children. And we as a Sauk village, you know the old phrase where they say, oh, it takes a village to raise a child? It takes Sauk village to raise a child. All of us together, working hand in hand and working with the parents, working with the community to better our community in our school district and the better things for the kids. That's it.
Hi, my name is Philip Bazil, and I'm also a candidate for school board for District 168. I'm currently an assistant principal at a school in the west suburbs. So as far as accessibility, that's one of my functions as an administrator. I've been an educator for quite some time. I've always been accessible for my parents, my students, my colleagues as far as the teachers are concerned, and my administrators and leaders. I am a collaborative and reflective leader. So in order to be collaborative, you have to know everyone in your building, you have to know the people in your community. And I think I take pride in that. I do that with my staff right now, and I currently want to do that as well with Sauk Village if I become a school board member. Thank you.
Okay, with this round of questions, we're going to start with Ms. Garrett, and we're going to move to the candidates left. Okay, Ms. Garrett, why do you want to be on the school board, and what difference can you make?
I want to be on the school board because I love kids. I love children. and I want to make a change. And is it the same question?
What difference can you make?
And my focus is the kids, the education, and the sports. I want to get our kids involved in a lot of sports as far as, because our district is lacking some sports as far as like conferences and different things like that. So I want to get our kids, you know, in the sports, so when it's time for them to go to high school, they can be ready, so they can get scholarships and go to college, and, you know, and excuse me, sorry. And so that's one of my focuses. My focus is the kids' education. My focus is the kids' education, and I want to focus on the schools also.
I am Marva Campbell Pruitt, and I would like to share with you why I would want to run for the school board. One of the reasons that I would want to run is because from past experience as a former board member a number of years ago, I found that it was very challenging and it was a very exciting experience. And it gave me an opportunity to communicate and contribute to the improvement of a community. And I believe that being on the school board for School District 168 would give me that opportunity. It's going to give me an opportunity to share my knowledge, my experience, and my talents to improve our overall school district, but not just the school district, but the community as well. I believe that I can represent the varying diverse needs of our community, and I can ensure that all has a voice in the educational process. I think that I can help to create stronger ties between our schools and the other municipalities and other governmental organizations. And I have a personal interest. I have a personal interest in the welfare of our students in this school district, as well as the educators who provide them the service. I believe that it's very important that the community look at the District 168's model, where it says it takes a community to serve our children. And I am of the community. I have no children. However, I have thousands of children because I used to be a school teacher, I used to be a principal and a superintendent. So therefore, a number of the students that I had way back then, and I'm not going to tell you how long ago it was, I still communicate with them. And some of them still call me Mama. And I appreciate that. I get calls on Mother's Day, get cards still, just as if I actually had a job. But I know that to be an effective school board member, I need to be a great communicator as well. And I honestly believe that I have all of those traits and qualities that's necessary in order to be an effective school board member. What difference can I make? I believe I sort of wound it into what I was saying already, in that I know that the talent and the experience and knowledge will serve District 168 well.
Okay, question is why do you want to be on the school board, and what difference can you make? Mine is a combination. There are several things. One, financial, helping to ensure the continued financial stability of the district, even though helping to ensure that and being fiscally responsible with the finances, as far as making sure that we have the necessary funds to do what's needed to help the children to move forward and have the supplies and the technology in the schools to help them for education, making sure the infrastructure is up to date and just keeping things going, so making sure that we're bringing in those finances. One of my strongest things that I have a very strong connection with U.S. state and local representatives to get in their faces to make sure we can bring back and that they remember District 168 and Sauk Village and put us on the map to get what we need so that we can move forward. And by moving forward and the things that we need, having a new vision for the district, knowing what our logo is, bringing up the academics and finding out other ways and bringing in data coordinators and just really understanding. We only see the bottom. Oh, your school is not meeting AYP and your school is not doing this. Well, how are we determining the curriculum? How are we actually getting the staff to know what we need to do? Well, the board's job is not only to hire a superintendent, the board's job is to write the policy for the district. The superintendent does the procedures and execute it. So how do you write a policy if you haven't educated yourself? How do you write a policy if you don't know why the state is making the mandates that they're making? How do you write a policy? And I watch Undercover Boss. I don't know if you all do. I always relate to that. How do you write a policy and you've never stepped foot in a building? And you've never been accessible to the community or the people and you're not listening? How are you able to move forward and make sure that the stakeholders' rights are not being violated because they are tax-paying bodies, they are citizens, when they actually come to you, when they know that there are items on the agenda or controversial items, and you don't take the time to want to hear their voice and consider the community's voice in the decisions that you make. So for me, these are some of the reasons. Bringing in the performing arts, making us well-rounded. We are the biggest filtering district, filtering into Bloom Trail, but we have the least amount of students in their performing arts and in their sports. So what can we do here? What can we bring here? Those are things that I'm interested in. The playgrounds, Strasburg and Wagner. Just being well-rounded, making sure that the policy, our board policy, is up to date, that is in line with the state laws and the local laws, and that we keep that up to date, and that we're actually not just doing policy, but following policy, because that is a public document. The other thing, I had a makeover helping the parents be fiscally responsible. fiscally helped with their finances, because we don't have a uniform, we have a dress code. Being a part of helping to encourage a more relaxed dress code to help with parents driving around the gas, to help with parents having to buy all these different clothes when it saves more money, when they're not so stuck and focus on clothes, when we need to focus on education and get these scores up and get these children getting their foundations in the way it needs to be. And then also my last thing was outside of technology, and I really want to get back on the board, because technology is a major for me at this point, and helping the children, because we're living in a technology world. That's really, really major for me, that our children are not ignorant to that, and that we have them prepared, because the parks testing that's coming up is going to be, they really, really need to understand technology to do it. But the last one that I wanted to relate to is how the demographics of our community has changed tremendously. I've been out here, I am a homeowner, I do pay taxes. I've been out here 10 years, and it's changed drastically, the demographics. We have a 40% turnover rate even in the school system, which affects grades. But the demographics play a role in our teaching staff, because we don't have a huge change in teaching staff, but a huge change in our students. So making sure that the proper professional development is given and made so that our staff can understand our children, and that can help minimize the discipline rate when you understand a child and how they operate.
Right before Sandra starts, I just want to acknowledge that we have another candidate that came in and want to participate, so we're so honored that she's here. Come on, Ms. LaTanya West.
Could you repeat that question, please?
Why do you want to be on the school board,
allow me to work and advocate for all the children that's in our community. And also, I'm very much concerned about the safety of our children. You know, when they get out of school, I would like to implement something for that, to watch out for their safety and get them off the streets, because they're like fighting. Sometimes when I'm driving down the street, they're out there fighting. If we could, you know, implement something like that for the children. And also something like conflict resolutions for the children, alternate ways to solve problems without guns, knives, you know, because sometimes our children, they come to school and they don't know who they are, and things that are going on in the family. What happens is they bring it to school. So that is very much needed to be looked at, and that's my concern.
Hi, my name is Philip Bazell. I'm running for the school board. One of the reasons you asked why run on the school board, the first thing is to prepare our children for an opportunity to compete at the highest level of education and also in life. How I'm going to do that, I want to make sure that they have academic excellence and have social responsibility, and also be accountable for all of their actions. Some students, they don't understand accountability, and I think we have to instill that in them, and it's also by leading that or showing that to them as well. And one of those things, my mission is on the school board, is to provide resources and policies and guidance to allow children to compete in an ever-growing global society, and to teach them social, ethical, and moral responsibility to become great leaders of tomorrow. We need to involve our community and our students and our parents in all the decisions that we make. Like I said before, I'm a collaborative leader. I don't believe in making decisions on my own. The school board doesn't make decisions on their own. I think that we need to lead by example. So in an effort to help our community become a better community in the schools, we need to involve our students in decision making. We need to involve our parents in these decision making. We need to involve our businesses in these decisions. So I think by working together, we can get these things accomplished. One of the candidates did talk about Kara and Park. I'm very familiar with working in the school. I was a teacher for 4 years. I'm currently an administrator at the school, so I know what it takes to, or what the teachers are dealing with in the schools. As far as discipline is concerned, I'm a disciplinarian in our school, so I know exactly what they're facing as well. And in administration, I know all the tasks and all the responsibilities that they have before them. So I know they have to work very hard with the school board to get these things accomplished. And that's what I bring to the table as far as being a candidate for the school board.
Hello, my name is Latanya West. Yes.
There's 2 questions. Why do you want to be on the school board, and what difference can you make?
Okay. My major concern, and the major reason why I want to be on the school board is because what drew my attention was the academics. District 168 has low academics. The children are not meeting academics. They actually only have about approximately 24% of the students in the district that are even meeting state standards. This is a problem for me because it has to be of several reasons. I mean, you can't really blame it on students alone, the parents, or the teacher. I mean, we all need to come together because this is a problem. And one of the things I'm focusing on is the motivation of the students. Students need to be motivated. And one of the things we found that can motivate the students is programs. It's consistent with them working harder if they're able to be in certain programs. They have to keep up a certain level. And another reason is that parents need to get more involved. And as he said, just kids need discipline. Discipline and the programs that I'm hoping that with the help of the community that we can get it into our school system, because these programs will also bring in funding. If you have a good program, then there's a bunch of investors, foundations that would invest in our community. A good school system will help build a good community. But like he said, a board is set of several people with the voice of one. And I would like to be that voice for not only the children, but the parents and the teachers, because they work hard to deal with some of the kids. They do need discipline. And if I look in there, then those are some of the things that I would like to work on.
My name is Tammy Jones, and y'all really want me to speak after listening to the rest of these guys. Well, for me personally, my desire to be re-elected is to live up to the standard that our former superintendent left us with. Every child, every day. But I'm a realist, so I'll take 99% of those. I'll take the flaw of one, possibly. But I became a board member in 2011, and I started that journey because I was that parent sitting in the audience, and I had something to say. I needed to know why, and you were going to tell me why, and I shake my head like this because that's how I shook my head at them, and they was going to give me answers. But now I sit on the other side, and I hold my head still because I have a responsibility not only to the parents, but to the district and the stakeholders to hear them and understand what they're saying and continue to govern through policy to help, as opposed to being that parent with my head shaking, wanting to answer, needing to know, because I did not understand. But after spending the last 4 years in the buildings, seeing what the students need, hearing the teachers, what they need to help the students, hearing my taxpayers say, do you really have to raise my taxes? And understanding all three sides and looking back at policy and how it helps guide us to making the decisions that's going to reach every child, every day. So ultimately, my goal, re-elected, back in my seat, is to continue going through policy, cleaning it up, making sure that we are being financially responsible, but also providing every child, every day, with whatever it needs within our means to be successful, well-rounded, not just educationally, but socially. Some of our children are going to need social skills to make it in this world, and they don't have that. But we need to find a way to collaborate, the educational and social, so that we have well-rounded students that can go out and survive and be productive citizens in Sauk Village.
This will be our last question for the entire round. We're going to ask everybody to keep your answers limited to 2 minutes and under.
Okay, and then also for this next question, we'll start with Ms. Campbell through it, and then we'll move to the last time we did before.
How will you let parents interact with their children in the school? Like, how will you allow them to interact with their children? Like, how will you allow a parent like myself to interact with their child? To be able to, does that make sense?
I'm trying to understand that question. And as a result, I'm going to do my very best to answer. However, it's my understanding
would you like to be active with? Is there a committee that you would like to implement and why?
Do you all understand that question? Is it clear? Do we need to restate it? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, we definitely understand. You think you're over there? Okay then. I think that I understand the question.
Okay.
From my understanding,
If I may interject, I would like to repeat it again so that the others can also have an opportunity to think on it a little bit. Okay, but thank you. So what you're saying is this: what committee do you or would you like to be active with? Okay, that's part one. Is there a new committee you would like to implement, and why?
In the school.
In the school.
So you're starting to go on the board, as a board member. Let's make the question really clear. As a school board member, the committees that you have right now in the schools, whether it's sports or athletes or homemaking or sewing or cooking, whatever's going on in the school, what committee or what program you already have in the school as a board member you want to push to see the children be more active with, or if there is not a committee that's already within the schools that are for the students you would like to implement for the students to benefit from. And that's the way it should be working. Is everybody clear? Okay, you have 2 minutes to move on.
again, I'm Marvin Campbell Pruitt, and I think what I would want to focus on in terms of, it's not necessarily a committee, but it's credentialing. And that is something that occurs across the state. And I would want to encourage an increase in the number of our educational personnel who seek national teaching certification. I think that the state of Illinois has state standards, but at the national level, there are national standards by which I think that our youth would greatly benefit from as well. So I would like to see some or more of our teachers take advantage of that stringent learning process and that curve. Another thing that I would like to do, and I think that's very important, and that is to build upon the current anti-bullying program that the schools have. It's very critical issue that's not just facing Sauk Village, but it is also quite global, and it goes beyond, I'm going to beat you up after school, you know, that we had when some of us were much younger. Our youngsters are killing each other over this, so I would really like to see something done to offset that. I would also like to collaborate with other committees and everything within Sauk Village to increase our student involvement in community events. Lastly, I would like to encourage our student participation in varying educational and developmental programs. I mean, I'm talking junior achievement, 4-H clubs, AXO, Special Olympics, and things along that line. Now, you ask which one would I be willing to charge now. Where Special Olympics is concerned, and a friend of mine that's in the audience remember when we used to run up and down the field for Special Olympics when I was a track and field coach. Well, I didn't know what I was doing then. However, I made Coach of the Year the second year because of my dedication and just really into it. Well, I know I'm not going to do Special Olympics track and field. However, I would like to encourage our students' active participation in Special Olympics. I would like to encourage the village of Sauk Village to take a greater role, not just in raising funds for Special Olympics, which is what we do, but to have our youngsters actively engaged. And I was given a time, so that's why I'm not expounding anymore.
Okay, because I'm actually in it, I really do need a little bit more clarity on the question, because it says, what committees would you like to be active with, or would I like to see? And the challenge that I have with that question is because there's 3 different areas of committee. The board actually has standing committees that are strictly board, that are through policy. The board also participates in standing committees through the administration. The administrations have committees as far as like the policy committee, the handbook committee, the discipline committee, the budget committee.
What committee would you like to do?
I'm pretty much on all of them. actually, so I'm naming. So I'm very heavily involved. The Parent-Teacher Advisory Committee. Inside the schools, there are other committees as far as like for the children, computer club, green club, the different sports, performing arts, different things like that. We're looking at bringing like soccer and track and field, so we really want to push, and that's something that I'm really looking to push, is really push the performing arts. So that's something I want to see, that's something that is in the making as far as what's in the making, what I would like to see. The teacher committees, of course, I can't be a part of those, but it's important to me to see the teachers continue to communicate with each other so that they can learn, from each other and just take note of what each other are doing and try to help each other in their own classes and excelling and help get the children's scores up. Because even though everybody thinks that we're not really meeting and exceeding, before we were testing people on all categories, and then we found out when our data coordinators came that it was best to teach them only in let's just do math and reading, because when you do math and reading, it's on a timetable, they're able to finish the test faster, the scores go up. If they're trying to do everything, then the children are not finishing the work, and then they get the answers wrong, and it looks like our scores are way down. Thank you. Time's up.
I would like this, the music committee, I don't know if it's a committee or what, but music would be good for the children to keep them, busy and stir up their gifts that they have in them. And music is also calming to the soul. Give them something to do, funding for the music department, I think that would be great, And also, I would like a program to be started for the children that bullies others. We always talk about anti-bullying, but where are the children bullying? It's a problem, and we need to cease that problem and come up with something, to talk to the kids that are bullied and just deal with the problem, with the issues that they have.
Hi, my name is Philip Lizzo once again. There are two committees that I would like to join as part of being a board member. One is the policy committee that addresses discipline, which is 7190. One of the articles in 7190 is the bullying policy as well. Also the finance committee, so we can determine exactly where our funds go and how we can address certain needs that we have within the school, whether it be with technology, whether it be with athletics, so we spend our money frugally and not, without cause. A committee I would like to create is a community service committee, one of which would develop social responsibility for our students. Many of our students and people in the community, they don't have discipline because of the fact they don't get involved in the community. They don't know how much we need each other in order to make our community great. So having a community service committee to develop social responsibility is one thing I would like to create. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Latanya West again, and my focus would be academic committee. The reason why I say academic committee is because we do have the Honor Society, but what I mean by the academic committee is something that will make learning more fun, something that will make learning, make the children want to learn, something that will make them want to reach academic growth, because it's really necessary. And all the other programs, like I said before, sports, music, and some of the other things that the other candidates stated, would help them to get to where they need to be in this academic committee. Another thing that I would like to bring out would be a parental awareness committee. That means letting the parents know what's going on. We always stating, at least I hear this a lot, that parents don't come to things that's happening. And I think that if we had a committee, maybe something or somehow, some way where we can go out and meet the parents. Where we can have where the parents to notify them of different things in academics and talk to them on a personal level, that this will help our kids to bring up their academic levels and to get involved in more programs. If we had some group of people that just concentrate on just that one thing, getting parents involved.
Okay, Tammy Jones. As an incumbent board member, I thank you guys for your comments and suggestions, because I've heard a lot of things that our district is already doing. That's how great 168 is. But for me, one of my desires is to see another language being taught to our children. When we speak of being well-rounded, we cannot be well-rounded speaking one language, because now we live in such a diverse universe that we need a second language. So my desire is to bring some type of second language to our English and our other bilingual students, so that we are performing well-rounded students. My second desire, and it pulled me, the board pulled me away, is to bring Girl Scouts back. I did it in our district for 8 years, and just to see the faces on some of those babies was amazing. But my commitment to the board became much more than was explained to me. And so I had to let that go, but Girl Scouts is on my list of things that I would love to bring back to the village.
Well, one of the committees that I'm actually on at the school now, where I'm the cheerleading coach for Ricola. I would love to bring softball back into the village. Because now we had to go to other cities to play sports when I would play sports in my own village. I would love to see more homework clubs. We have homework clubs, but I want to bring more homework clubs. And I also want to bring clubs for the club for the parents, so they can help their children with the homework. Because some of the homework that these kids get, we can't help our kids. So I would love to bring like some type of committee so the parents can be taught what the kids are being taught, so when they come home and the kids like, you have to do my homework, and I'm like, and yeah, I'm part of the handbook committee, the policy committee, and a lot of other committees in the school district.
All right.
Let's give all the candidates a great big hand clap. Come on for answering these questions. They did a fine job. At this point, we're going to open up the mic for a few questions for about 15 minutes. So if you're going to get in line now. When I count to 3, whoever's not in line, we don't need you to get in line at this forum. Just like in church. 1, 2, 2.5. Okay, 3. I want to say to the candidates while the audience is getting their questions together, this is a friendly meet and greet today, and we are very humbled the neighborhood watch that you all decided to come and participate. All of you gave great answers, and I know that all of you all are going to be out there knocking on doors at the stores, in the community. At this point, nobody has won. Everybody has the same opportunity. You all have heard the questions that they've answered. We have some residents. I'm going to ask you to keep your questions friendly. You can ask a question and anybody can answer it, but you can direct your question to a particular person. We do not want to be rude to anybody. If I feel as the chair that is getting out of order, I'm going to ask you all to refrain from your question, and we will discuss your question on the sidebar. We're not here to embarrass anyone. We don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. This is a mature audience, and you've been great. I want you to give the audience a hand clap. Candidates, clap your hands for them. So with that being said, we're going to open up the mic at this time. We're going to move expeditiously. You can ask your questions. Whoever would like to answer, you have 1 minute to answer the questions. If you notice on the flyer, it also said one-on-one interviews. That means at the end, they're going to have a closing remark to make, and then they'll be in the foyer to pass out their literature, and we're going to move right into the trustees. We don't want anybody to leave because the trustees will be next. And with that, we open up the mic.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamal Kasali. I've been a resident in Sauk Village for 20 years. I am the most senior board member in District 168. I thank you all for electing me twice. Before I get to the question, I just want to give the audience a brief of what's been going on in District 168 school. So, because a lot of people died for us to have the right to vote. So your vote is really very important. So when we're all done, I will give you some of these papers to know the truth. Because Sharon is a good person. Jones is a good person. But they have been behaving very bad.
Okay, hold on 1 minute, Mr. Casale. We're not going to campaign or bash anybody?
I'm not campaigning. Okay. I'm just giving the people the facts. Because 3 of these people here, they don't want them to be on the ballot. Okay. So you can find out, just facts is all I'm giving.
Okay, Mr. Casale, listen to me. I'm in charge. Yes, I'm in charge. And I'm saying this, we're not going to call any names. We're not going to bash anybody or talk about what anybody is not doing. You can ask a question for the board to answer, but that kind of dialogue, you'll have to talk about it outside. Other than that, I need you to reframe your question to the end, and that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, to Sharon, the teachers union has filed a complaint about you, and there's an investigation. What do you have to say to the people about that?
Actually, we're here, that is actual parent information, or confidential information, but because you brought it up and I know you're not going to let it go, I am going to answer the question. Yes, everybody, there has been a union complaint filed against me because I choose to follow our handbook and our policies. And the same thing with our board. Right now, what Mr. Casale is doing is because I choose to follow the policy and the handbook. When we tell parents, and let me go back a little bit. I just need to answer this real quick and I'll talk real fast because I also have to go. Our board has a policy. We had a vacancy, short version of the story. We had board members who chose not to follow our policy. Anybody, out of 10,000 people, one person chose to put in the information to fill that vacancy. One person, our board chose not to follow the policy and to not interview that person. Didn't say we had to vote for the person, it said interview. We could have came out and said no and then reopened it. I chose not to reopen it. This really upset some of our board members, and that's why we're in the position that we're in right now. So the county had to come in and put someone in, which on Monday I will be installing in Maxine Towers in that place because the county had to come in because we have half our board members, which are the 3 of us, Tammy Nicole Jones, Nate Garrett, and myself choose to follow our board policy. When it comes to me as a parent, even though I'm a board member, I am still a parent. I have parental rights. I have privacy rights. And that's where people get confused at. Every school year we ask everybody to sign a handbook, you and your child. Once you sign that document, these are the rules and guidelines that you're going to go by. When you sign that document, guess what that means? That is a legal binding agreement that you're going to follow suit. And we've had some classrooms that are cold. My son is not only sickly, so if my son is sickly and there are times that the school has not done what they were supposed to do, even though I sit on the board, I'm still a parent. Therefore, now I have to speak up as a parent. My personal privacy rights have been violated, and so have my children. I am an advocate for that. So that's a major problem. I have never sued the district. I filed a formal complaint. In me filing a formal complaint, in retaliation, in retaliation to the people that I filed a complaint about their behavior, of how my son was being treated because we were going according to the handbook and they were not. In retaliation, they filed a complaint against me, and that's what you see. The handbook does not, on page 74, if anyone would like to read our handbook, it states you can wear a sweater without a hood. And then it states that you can wear a sweatshirt, you can wear a sweatshirt without a hood, you can wear a sweater. It does not say without a hood, and it doesn't address jackets at all. My son has a jacket with a hood. He needed it. It was cold. I insisted that my son be able to wear it until we change it in policy. We have to follow our own words and our own guidelines. And some people were upset with me, so that's what Mr. Casale is referring to. And as a sitting board member, no one can reprimand a board member. If the only thing that can happen to a board member is a censure. And that would be our lawyers would send a letter, just like they did to the entire board, because we're not following policy. Some of our board members are not following policy. So they send a letter saying you have to follow policy. The only thing that can be done is a censor. You have to have 4 board members that say, okay, we didn't like your behavior. Yes, I was an upset parent. I'm going to tell you the truth. That's one thing about me. I'm very upfront. I went to the school, yes I did, to the office, and I let them know I'm very upset because you all keep bothering my son. And if I'm being treated like this, I wonder how many other parents are. I would like to see administration. As I waited for administration, end of my story, as I waited for administration, I had specific staff members to come and keep bothering me, and I asked them to leave me alone. And if I ask you to leave me alone several times, if a parent asks you to leave them alone, and you don't, and I'm sitting here, then when we get in now, we're going to have an issue here. So when I got a chance to see the report that was presented to the community before I saw it this past Friday, my privacy rights as a parent has been violated again. What he's given out as a board member is violating the privacy rights of a parent again. And that's why I want to be on the board to make sure that parental rights are not violated. And I have not done anything wrong as a city board member. If you'd like further detail or conversation about it, you can meet me Wednesday at Hometown Bureau at 6 o'clock. I'll be there until 8. Thank you.
All right. Okay, for clarification, thank you. You're the current president of the board. Okay, we will have no more questions like that. Let's continue with a mature adult forum. Thank you. Please ask your questions, and we're going to ask everyone to answer them in 1 minute because we have another session that started with the trustees in 40 minutes.
My question is, can you discuss skills that are needed to be an effective school board member?
Skills that I feel is needed outside of, to be a board member, all you have to be is a voting resident, sleeping 75% in the area that you are the board member in, and you have to be 18 years or older. But for me, it is behavior. It is a major, it doesn't matter if you don't like a person. It doesn't matter if you have personal issues with a person. When it's time to take care of the business of the people and the business of the district, that's what's important. So for me, the characteristics of someone who knows how to separate personal from business and let's take care of it and know what we're there for, because we're the head and it trickles down. And if our administration see if we can't come together unified, then we're not doing the work of the people. So for me, it is important that that any board member is able to set aside differences, personal egos, personal behaviors and attitudes, and come together for the good of the people. And also for a board member to understand if they're outvoted on something, we are still one. We speak as one voice. I will be honest with you, we had a 4-3 split hiring our superintendent, but we speak as one voice. I was a no vote. I had an option. We had 2 candidates. It was not that I did not like our superintendent. It was I had an option of 2 and I went with the other one. A 4-3 split, but I still spoke with one voice with my board. I vowed to everyone I would work with Dr. Donnelly, and to this day, I work very closely, and I have kept my word in working with Donnelly. That is so important, a characteristic that even if you're not in agreement, you still show a united front.
I would like to say something, a skill that I think is needed, and as a board member, and I'm not a board member yet, but one thing that I do believe is teamwork. I believe it's teamwork, and it's the 8 people, because the superintendent should be that 8th person where they can all have a voice, where they speak as one, where they can come together and make decisions, not just their own decisions, but the best decisions that are needed to help the children and to promote education. not only to the children, but to the family and the stakeholders.
Hi, I'm Philip. I'd like to answer that question. Number one, you have to be a knowledgeable person about the tasks that are ahead of you, so you need to know about what's going on in the school and what the schools are facing in order to be an effective leader. Number two, you must be collaborative. You can't work by yourself. You can't do this thing by yourself. You have to be able to communicate and work with others. And number three, you have to have the passion and the commitment to complete the tasks that are laid forward. Thank you.
I would like to answer. I'm just going to follow protocol by raising my hand. You know, that teacher or being in the school setting just hasn't left me. I think that I would make a very effective school board member. And the reason I say that is because I have 4 distinct qualities that I feel would be very beneficial. One of them, the first one is a team player. I think that you have to, as Philip stated, you have to be collaborative. You have to be able to work on a team. You have to be able to realize that you have to know or learn and be proficient at building consensus. If it's not the way you would necessarily want it, once the vote is in, you are to perform as one collective body. That's teamwork. And I know that I have that ability. Another thing, I have the time. I am retired. And I heard Tammy say that she didn't realize it was going to be so time consuming, but I know that it's going to take 15 to 20 hours per week, or per month rather, to be an effective board member. Some take less, others take more time. I know, me being the overachiever that I am, I would probably expend more than the 15 or the 25, but you got to have the time, and you have to be willing to do your homework. I call homework when you're given documents to prepare for a meeting, that you come in prepared. Okay. I'm being told to hurry up, and I know I can't talk and be a little verbal. But another thing is, you have to have a desire to serve the children in the community. I have that. I won't expound upon it. And the last thing that I state is to respect the needs and feelings of all involved, whether it's the students, the teachers, the other board members, the superintendent, or whatever. You have to be a caring individual.
Hi, my name is Francine Anderson, and my question would be, as a school board member, and you know that our education or our academics is low, and we also know that the board $16 million in its budget. I am interested in finding out what would you do as a board member to expend some of that money to educate our children to bring their academic levels up. What would you do? Will you be willing, my answer would be a yes and a no, and what would you do in order to spend some of that money to make sure that our children become educated so they can have a better academic scoring level?
Thank you for your question. Tammy Jones is the name. Currently, yes, we do. We have a almost $17 million budget. However, there are some things coming down the pipe that is going to be mandated by government, by state government, and we are attempting to be fiscally responsible. However, we have done several things to enhance with our student learning. There were several computer cards that have been installed in all the schools, preparing us for PART and for the Common Core assessments that are coming down the pike. So with that being said, we are heavy with policy and governing through that policy to ensure that we are making a balanced budget and still providing for our students.
Yeah.
This Monday, I would love for you to come out. You can get way more details and see. And this Monday is our board meeting at 6 o'clock. Our business manager will be doing a mid-year budget review. And I have asked her to include our property tax questions that people have been asking of why do we raise taxes. And I've also asked her to include how and why we use the fund balance, the 16,987 mil, why we use it the way we use it, and why we can't use. Right now, the state is looking to put the pension, which is TRS, that's the pension, on the backs of the school district. If they do that, we'll need money to be able to pay for that. We'll have to cover that. Also, we also have to have at least 3 months fund balance in the bank according to the state, so that if something goes wrong, we will have funds. Also, we are 65 to 75% dependent on the state. Your tax dollars, our tax dollars, is actually the only stable income that our district has. So, and what happens is the state owes us money. When our taxes, they owe us that. They have to give that to us. But with us being 65 to 70% depending on the state, they can reallocate that money somewhere else and then we won't get it. But we're $439,000 right now behind, waiting on the state to give us our money. So we have to pinch it to the fund balance. If we use all the fund balance right now, how are we going to meet our monthly bills? How are we going to meet payroll? So that's a major, major issue for us on how to do it. You can come Monday, you can get some really, really good details, a breakdown, see the slideshow and everything on how we're doing with our finances and why we're using them the way we do. Answer the question.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
what would you do to be creative?
Oh, I have an answer to that. Yes. Okay, the answer to
about what you're doing, but
okay.
The question is, what would you do as an individual to be creative?
Oh, we're doing that now.
Some of that fun.
Got you. Well, to be creative to help with the money because we are operating in a deficit. We are using the monies for that to help cover our deficit that we're working on. That's all we're using the money for at this time. But because we have some other things that we're changing, we're in contract negotiation of what the teachers are being paid, we're actually cutting that down so that we're not operating in a deficit, which now that'll give us more money other areas because we also are trying to have our iPad pilot to continue on. We're trying to do technology with the fund balance, but we're not trying to spend all at once, but we are trying to use that to upgrade the technology and get iPads in the hands of all the students, and we'll have to use that fund balance for that. Did that help answer the question some? With the iPads? Okay. Yeah, the iPads are going to help because we're doing a lot of work on technology on the iPads. We're moving away from books. Right now, if we use a history book, President Obama won't be in the history book. So it's very important that we really gear towards technology and we can have more updated information and be able, the students can really work on it.
Number one, the board is responsible for finances and making policies. As far as $17 million being in the coffers, it's really not a lot of money. That can dissipate very quickly depending on how the government funds us. As far as being creative and doing things with our money, I don't know what initiatives the school has currently, but you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money to get your scores back up. There are several things that teachers can do, staff can do to create activities, homework clubs, different focuses on how you teach lessons and training our teachers to help facilitate and increase our scores. So as far as hitting towards the finances that we have, we really do have to be frugal in our spending, but however, we do need to take the building leaders, which are the principals, the assistant principal, the administration, those are the people who actually take care of handling those issues within the schools. Thank you.
Also, I would like to say, as far as getting funds for programs, there are, and I mentioned this before earlier, there are funded foundations that will sponsor programs if the programs are planned and implemented properly. And so these funds can be allocated to the schools for the programs, but we have to have a plan. We have to have a plan, and my focus is on academics and also after-school programs. So the school don't have to spend a lot of money if they have put these plans into place and set them up so that people that's very much interested in helping children will sponsor these monies for these programs. But we have to have parents involved. We have to have parents willing to have their children participate in these programs. We have to have people willing to do these programs, to teach them and participate.
Okay. To expedite the time, we're gonna stop at exactly 2:35. So when you ask a question, you're only gonna ask that at the most 2 people respond. Go ahead, Rachel.
Okay. Hi. First of all, I would like to thank everybody who had signed my position when I was running. And I wanted to make clear the reason that I initially did back out was because of me not being prepared enough and me not knowing exactly what the school board entails and how much time it would take. So I just wanted to emphasize that I do appreciate everybody who did back me and support me, but that, you know, that's the main reason why I had backed out was because of not being able to.
She's supposed to ask some questions.
Anyway, and my question is, I don't know if this exactly is with the school board, but is there, I know that she was saying the Girl Scouts, which I think is a great thing, the bullying thing is a great thing, but is there anything that we can have other than the Blossoms program at Wagner with mothers and babies so that we can interact with our children before you all get them better?
Blossoms is part of the early childhood program that is actually separately funded by the state, not by our actual district. But because the state is always behind on the funds, our district picked up the slack and we pay it and wait for the state to pay us back. So at this time, you are always welcome in the school in your children's classroom. You just call the school office, let the teacher know in 24 hours, at least the courtesy of 24 hours, and you're welcome to go and sit in and shadow any time and have lunch with your child. It's just a matter of communicating with the building and the building staff.
Frank Williams, Sauk. My question to you is this. In the last 4 years, our children reading skills, can you tell me how far advanced have they came from 4 years that you took office is to where they stand right now, and what were you going to do to improve the reading and writing skills of our children in school?
I don't have the actual numbers in front of me at this time, but I can get those for you and follow up with you. But what we're doing right now is what I was saying earlier with the data coordinators. We have a data coordinator there, and we found out that we were testing the children on all areas: language arts, reading, math, social studies, and they weren't finishing the test because it's a timed test. And then if you don't finish, those answers are marked wrong, so it makes our scores look low. So what we're doing now, and we've already started doing it this current school year, so in August we'll know the real numbers and have better numbers in the fall for you. We are actually focusing them on math and reading. We had cupcake calculations today to talk about parts to help us to get ready for it. And so now we have special programs. We've implemented Stride Academy and different other training systems children can do at school, during school time, they can do after school, and they can do at home to help get them and better prepare them for these tests. And then again, when we do the test, they're going to do math and they're going to do reading, which will now, because it's time, give them more time to complete it, which gives them more correct answers, which makes our scores go up higher.
Mr. Brazil, hold on, Mr. Williams. Mr. Brazil.
I would not do that approach per se. As far as like focusing on just reading and mathematics, that takes away from being well-rounded students. What I would rather do is promote some initiatives that actually enhances the reading or mathematics scores, which we do. Social studies involves reading, science involves mathematics and reading as well. So we can focus on those skills, those literacy skills and computational skills in all those classes, but we need to focus and have our teachers focus on those particular skills with homework assignments. There's this other thing called Lexia, which is a computer application that actually students can do at home or on the weekend or when they're on vacation to enhance their skills, and they get credit for it in class as well. And there are several other initiatives that we can actually instill in the schools using the computer system that we currently have now to help increase our scores.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, did you just ask? Okay. Ms. Howard, who's also a school board member, Mary Howard.
Thank you for coming today. I just want to quickly say the entire state took a hit with new cut scores, and you were correct when you said 24%. At this time with the new formula, the old formula, we were at 63%. And so the state redid the formula more closely to match the high school formula. So I'm sure that we will bring that percentage up in the future. But my question for you today is, what special strengths do you believe you could bring to the board in just a few words? Just a few words. Tell me what special strengths you could bring to the school board.
Okay. Well, don't nobody really know this, but I'm specialized. One of my specialties is program design, and that's why bringing in programs to increase the academics is very important to me, and it's something that's familiar to me. So those skills there, as far as my personal skills, would be my determination and my ability to help others. And my ability to help others, especially children, because I am a social worker, so I have worked with children in that aspect before. I also worked at Kennedy King College. So that to me is a strength in helping the kids bring up their academics. And as far as this, with the 24%, when you said that there are going to be changes made, the changes are going to be only made in the formula. But what about the kids, the process? These kids have to be prepared. They have to have some, I understand the teachers are learning now, but the kids need to be learning as well. They need to be in the program now, learning, in order for them to raise up their academics. Because what about the 8th graders that's leaving now? The 8th graders that are leaving now, we can't go on a hope and promise and say, well, you know what? 6th, 7th, and 5th graders going to learn this new program. What about the 8th graders? What about now? This is here and now. This is the time where we need to be preparing our kids for this Parks test. The Parks assessment is an assessment that's bringing our kids from the lower, what did you say, what percentage they needed to have? 63, and it was making 24. The new is going to raise the percentage, right? Am I correct? They're going to raise the percentage. So they're going to have to jump from 24% to whatever percent they want them to have now, college level. That's what it states, college level. So you want us to say, well, okay, it's fine. No, we need programs for that. And
well,
that
I
am prepared for because I am experienced in that. Yes, I have a program, I design programs. That's one thing I do. Thank you.
May I answer? You asked specifically what traits do I feel that I have that would make me successful as a board member. I'm just going to list them. Dedication, knowledge, experience, technologically sound. I'm a visionary, I'm goal-oriented, and I'm a policymaker. Okay, Ms. Houston.
On behalf of Sauk citizens of public awareness, I'd like to piggyback on a comment Ms. West made, and I talked to you about this before. Now, when we're out there on the street talking to people about residents about various issues, they bring up something that's important to them. And my whole thing about this is that communication is not there. You know, some of these residents out there, they don't care, they just want stuff done. They're not going to come to board meetings to find out what they can and cannot have, okay? They want to know when they're going to get it implemented. Now, the first thing I asked you about, Ms. Davenport, is that it was a rumor, and this is just a rumor, is that the fire hydrants there were not working. So the resident who asked me about it, I thought, no, you know, we can't have that. I don't care what we have. That was going to be one of my next big campaigns. But nevertheless, you cleared that up and talked to the resident about it. But the point I'm trying to make is that communication is not there with the board members. And Ms. West indicated taking a group of residents and talk to them, period one-on-one, and you may get them pulled into what you want them to do. So my point that I'm trying to make is, what would you guys do to improve the communication? And secondly, there's another resident who asked you about, she has to bring her baby to the preschool, and a lot of times it's cold.
She wants to know why she can't get bus service. Now, the resident only knows that you guys are sitting on 16 million, so she wants to know why her baby can't get bus service. So I told her to go to the board, or she can do it, you know, I asked. So that's my question, to better communicate with residents, what would you do?
Okay, thank you. Yes, we did speak about the fire hydrant. A lot of things regarding the board, we have to go through the communication with our superintendent, which is where I immediately referred. I went and asked the superintendent, but I also immediately referred Ms. Bernice to her. But one of the ways that we try to communicate with our parents, we have a phone blast, we do mailings, we have newsletters, and actually for some of the stakeholders don't have children in the district, and there's the question, well, how do you get information? So to them, so that is still something that's in the making that we're working on. We have a community fest that is also posted where everyone is welcome. We had a district program yesterday where everyone is welcome, and we're there to communicate. We have a parent coffee. Our superintendent and each principal at each school have we call it parent coffee. We probably should change the name because you don't have to be a parent. We had a grandparent there yesterday at one of our schools that came in. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're a stakeholder in this district, these coffees are groomed to sit down and have donuts and coffee well, a lot of times the three of us are there, the board members or one or the other, we're supporting there. But you can ask any question you want, any topic you want, get any information that you want. And then when it comes to the early childhood program, again, that is actually financed. We do pay for busing, but early childhood is financed totally separate from our district. That is a different state program. And actually, they actually guide how that program is even ran, what they can do, how they can teach, that whole thing. And we follow suit and just follow the legal guidelines behind that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Couch.
Yes, now that the new governor is coming out with a proposed budget, how is it going to affect District 168, and how do you plan to address any shortfalls?
I would love to answer that question because I was there. I mean, believe it or not, unfortunately, I hate to say this on camera, but don't believe what you really heard on the camera, because I was actually there in a meeting this week in Springfield, and I was out there advocating for our town and for the school district. And they made a promise that he is for all students, even though he was really pushing charters, the conversation with charter schools. He made a promise that he's going to increase funds for early childhood, and he said, and he made one other promise, I can't think what it is off the top of my head, but when I raised my hand to ask questions about, he said he's not going to make any decisions for the next 6 months. But he's already made decisions. He's already taken money and cut funds in the early childhood area. So it's not much that we can do about it, but just continue to meet and stay on top of our state representatives, which we met with all 5 of them while we were there this past week, for them to stay on top of things for us and speak out and know that District 168 is not just a number, District 168 or Sauk Village, but we are a people, and we do have needs and we have expectations. And if you promise us something, we expect to see it, and we're proving ourselves.
Thank you very much. Mr. Stewart?
Mary Stewart, question. We have candidates up here that are running for re-election and candidates that are running for those spots. My question is commitment. We're listening to how you sound. Some of you sound good. We can pick and choose which ones. My point that I'm getting at is, what we have, can they work with what we may get? Do you think that you can rise to the level of commitment to work with what is considered opposition at this time? If the 3 committed ones that are already there lose their seats, do you think that you that are candidates can raise to the level of what we're hearing?
Amen to that.
And explain why in the minute. Thank you.
You have 2 people that can respond, and you have 1 minute.
I would like to respond to that.
So please state your name.
My name is Latanya West. The board to me is one. The decisions have to be made as one. If you can't get along with the members, then you don't have no place on the board. It's like a job. People go to work every day. You don't have to get along, but you got to do your job. So, as far as can I raise to the standards as working with them, that's what I do. I work with people. I don't worry about what people do. I'm not concerned about their character, how tall, how short, or any of that. My major concern, as far as the school board, is the education of the kids. And if you are if you're on the same level and you feel like they're number one, then we're on the same level. It's the children. The bottom line is the children. It's the children and it's the community coming together to support the children.
Okay, one other person. Brazil?
Number one, I've been talking about being a collaborative leader since I've been here, up here. It's very important for you to be able to work with everybody around you. You may not like everybody. Like she said, it has to be a business. You have to run this like a business. Whether you like somebody or not, we have to be here for the interest of the children. So I'm more than willing to work with anyone. I have worked with people who I wasn't very necessarily fond of, but I respect them. As you, I've always respected you, and we've had, you know, our situation, but I still respect you as an individual. But I would like to address the question that was there before, as far as we having shortfalls for the governor taking money away from us. I would like to ask that question real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, but I
Well,
No, she said two.
we don't have that. I just wanted to say that we can write grants to help, you know, those gaps that we do have, and we need to actually work towards getting more grants towards our school to deal with those shortfalls we might have.
I want to just comment real quick. I am a grant writer. I write grants.
Okay. At this point, I would like to first of all thank our audience for coming. I would like to thank our moderators. Rachel, let's give them a big hand clap. Rachel, Brother Dean, Greg, and Carol. They're on the way to watch. They're like practice. They're preparing for the trustees to come up next. And as you prepare to say your closing statements in 1 minute or less to let the audience know what you want them to go home with about you. We're going to start with Ms. Tammy Jones on the intercom. All the way down, you'll have 1 minute to give your closing remarks. I want to remind you that the Neighborhood Watch thank all of you for coming, and we do meet every second Monday at the fire station of the month at 6:30. This forum was put on because residents asked who are the candidates. They had no idea who they were. They heard names, but they did not relate their names with a face. So I am humbled on behalf of the committee that all of the candidates decided to come in to participate. I know it was nervous, but all of you did a great, great job. I want you to give them a very good handout. It's been brutally cold, it's been below zero, but this audience fought the weather. It came out today anyway. We're going to ask you all if you all would stay and support the trustees. I see people on their phones still inviting people to come to hear the trustees in their forum, which is going to be starting in about 15 minutes. So in conclusion, when you finish, you will be able to go into the lobby and pass out your information, set up coffee sips. Some of you all may want them to come on your block or come to your house and meet with your neighbors. Some of them don't have a campaign office, so they need to have those coffee sips on the block. We encourage you to get with the candidates when they come down. When the trustees come up, they'll be doing the same thing when they come down, setting up coffee sips to come on your block, meet your neighbors. They have about 5 weeks until election day. And right now, nobody has won, so everybody has the same opportunity to knock on doors, to get in those stores, and talk to the residents of Sauk Village. That's my final statement. And with that being said, we're going to start with Ms. Jones. I want you to state your names and let the residents know what you want them to know in 1 minute or less. Thank you.
Tammy Jones, first and foremost, thank you, Trustee Washington, for this opportunity. Thank you guys for coming out with the interest of heart for the children and the district and where our community is going. My only plea to you is, if you are looking for somebody who believes in every child, every day, if you are looking for someone who believes in governing through policy, policy is the key word. I'm asking for you to re-elect Tammy Jones.
So thank you. If you're looking for someone to bring more sports to the district, to help the kids, academics come up, If you're looking for someone who's always dedicated and always there, if you're looking for someone to follow policy, if you're looking for someone that has a financial background, vote for Senator Garrett.
Again, I am Martha Campbell Pruitt, and I have a history rich with professionalism, acts of volunteerism, and proven community service. I pledge to give that in my stint as a board member. I'm a retired public servant. I am very proficient with program implementation, fiscal management, professional development training, and policy and decision making. I have represented at the state level at Illinois State Board of Education on their advisory committee. So when I say that I bring a solid level of experience, I do. And I know that that's going to benefit us overall. I truly believe that the residents, if they were to vote for me to the 2-year seat, that it will produce great dividends for the school district and set it upon the path of greater progress, as I have a personal interest in preserving and improving the quality of our school system. And I'm aware that to be effective, I must collaborate as a team with other board members, with our children as the ultimate focus. I will work together to accomplish the board's goals.
Again, my name is Sharon Archie Davenport. Please excuse me when I'm done speaking. I will be stepping out. But if you vote for me, and I hope that you will, so that I can continue the work that have already began and the major great things that have occurred since I've been on the board the last 4 years. The work that I've done on this board, I would pass my time if I begin to list them, but know that in 4 years I've become a master board member through the Illinois Association of School Boards for our South Cook Ridge is the highest level of distinction in the state of Illinois for the work that I have done on the board thus far. I am also a member of the executive and governing board for the South Cook region, in where my work, along with some of my board members' work, helped to get us the only South Cook distinction of good governance distinction, for the first one in the history of District 168. Also, I am one for students, I am one to support staff, and to support stakeholders, and to work closely with our administration and state reps to make sure that we are following the law and we're getting all that we can for our children, focusing on the rights, especially as students, and understanding that Common Core. And lastly but not least, through the constant, as a board president, and I do have conflicting, relationships with some of my board member colleagues, the constant public disrespect that I get from them, not only out in the public, but in the board meetings. Even on Monday, you'll probably get some stuff. For me, I'm still able to keep focused and do the work of the people because I know what I'm there for. So if you re-elect me, you can know you have a strong tower who is focused and who knows that no matter what comes her way, no matter what is thrown at her, she is not going to forget the students, the staff, and the stakeholders of this community and of District 168.
My name is Sandra Isom, and I will be responsive and receptive to parents, staff, students, and community at large, encouraging open dialogue. My efforts as a board member would center on serving all of the children in the community. And I would also like to create a long-term vision, mapping a course that provides the necessary opportunities for the students. And also, I do have 10 years experience in underwriting, so I dealt with policies and regulations.
Hi, my name is Philip Bazil. What I strive for is academic excellence, social responsibility, and accountability for all students. My goal as a school board member, if elected, is to provide the school district with resources, policies, and guidance to allow our children to compete in an ever-growing global society, and to teach them social, ethical, and moral responsibility and to become great leaders of tomorrow. How, you ask? By setting high academic standards and expectations for our students and ourselves, collaborate with the staff, students, and the community, and creating a grander and more unified district. So please elect me this April. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Latanya West again. And my major If you vote for me, my ability to help our children raise their academics is my major focus. I want people to be able to look at Sauk Village and say, look at the change that has been made. I want people to be able to see the growth. I want, if you're looking for a person that's hardworking, dedicated, and someone that's going to educate herself on all the needs that's needed for me in order to do this position, then you have the right person. So please, vote for Latanya West.
Let's give all of them a great big hand clap. Thank you, candidates. Congratulations, and good luck to you all.